The cold wind hurled through the narrow streets of a small American town, rattling the windows of diners and flickering the neon lights that tried desperately to bring warmth into the night. Outside one such diner, a man sat slumped against the wall, his clothes torn, his hair unkempt, his face marked by the scars of a battle no one else could see. His legs refused to carry him, forcing him into a battered wheelchair, and his hollow eyes told the story of countless nights spent without shelter. He was the kind of man people passed by without a second glance, someone the world had already judged, labeled, and abandoned. But inside that diner, someone's heart was about to change his story forever. Sparkles, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the power of compassion, take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope today, and subscribe to Kindness Corner so more stories like this can touch hearts around the world. Your support keeps these stories alive. The waitress, Emily, was no stranger to hardship herself. At just 24, life had taught her lessons that weighed far heavier than her years. She worked double shifts, balancing trays of steaming plates and coffee cups with a tired smile. While inside, she worried about bills piling up on her kitchen counter, and her younger brother's school fees that always seemed out of reach. Yet, no matter how weary she was, Emily carried with her a quiet strength, one that saw through the dirt and despair of the man outside and recognized something most people ignored: his humanity. Every evening after serving her last round of customers, she would bring him a steaming bowl of soup and a slice of bread. She never asked for his name, and he never offered it. All she knew was that his eyes, though clouded with sorrow, softened each time she placed food before him. As the days turned into weeks, Emily began to notice the whispers of other customers. Some rolled their eyes at her compassion, muttering about how helping beggars only encouraged laziness. Others shook their heads in pity, convinced the man had wasted his life and had no one to blame but himself. But Emily never let those voices change her heart. She remembered nights when she and her brother had gone to bed hungry, waiting for their mother to return from work, only to find she had skipped her own meal so they could eat. Emily knew hunger. She knew hopelessness. And she knew the smallest kindness could sometimes feel like a miracle. The beggar, though frail in body, carried an aura of mystery. His scars hinted at struggles untold. His silence was not of pride, but of deep pain. And though he sat quietly by the diner window, watching life move past him, his presence was undeniable. Slowly, Emily's small act of kindness grew into a bond neither spoke of, but both cherished. On nights when the snow blanketed the streets, she slipped him extra bread rolls wrapped in napkins. When storms rattled the diner windows, she poured his soup a little fuller than usual, pretending not to notice her manager's disapproving stare. Then came the night everything changed. The man looked weaker than usual, his hands trembling as he tried to lift the spoon. Emily knelt beside him, steadying the bowl, her eyes filled with concern. For the first time he looked at her, not with the guardedness of a broken soul, but with the weight of someone carrying a secret too heavy to bear. His lips parted, and in a low, hoarse voice, he revealed words that stunned her. He was not a beggar. He was not even poor. He was, in fact, a billionaire. At first, Emily thought. His mind was clouded with delirium. Yet his gaze was steady, his tone resolute. He told her of a life once filled with towering glass offices, luxury cars, and magazine covers that hailed him as one of America's most successful entrepreneurs. But in chasing wealth, he had lost everything: family, trust, and love. Betrayed by those closest to him, broken by the pressures of greed and ambition, he had walked away from it all, choosing anonymity over opulence. His scars were not just from physical battles, but from wars waged in boardrooms and in his own soul. Emily sat frozen, her heart pounding as she realized the man she had fed every day out of pity was someone who once had more money than she could imagine. But what struck her most was not his wealth, nor his fall. It was his gratitude. He confessed that in all his years of success, surrounded by people who claimed to care for him, he had never felt genuine kindness the way he did when she placed a simple bowl of soup before him with no expectation in return. From that night, the story of Emily and the beggar began to spread beyond the diner walls. The man, slowly regaining his strength and will to live, began visiting the diner not as a faceless figure outside, but as a patron inside, quietly observing Emily's resilience. Unknown to her, he began setting plans into motion. Behind the shadows of his humility still rested vast resources, and he decided that this young woman, who had seen him as human, not as a fallen billionaire or a beggar, would be the one whose life he would change. Weeks later, Emily received an envelope slipped under her apartment door. Inside was not just a letter, but documents that would alter the course of her life forever. The billionaire had quietly paid off all her debts, secured her brother's education, and even arranged for her to own the very diner where she had worked. Tirelessly, she wept that night, not because of the money or the sudden lifting of her burdens, but because her simple act of kindness had unlocked a truth she had always believed deep down, that compassion could ripple outwards in ways one could never predict. The man disappeared soon after, leaving no trace except for the legacy of his gratitude. But the diner he left in Emily's hands became a beacon for others. She continued serving meals to anyone who walked in hungry, never turning away those who had nothing to pay with. And in every act of kindness, she felt the invisible presence of the man who had once been broken, but had reminded her and the town that wealth meant nothing if it could not be used to heal hearts. If this story has touched your heart, please take a moment to like, share, and subscribe to Kindness Corner. These stories of kindness and second chances are meant to inspire hope, and your support helps them reach more people who need them. Before we close, I want to ask you one special request. Leave a comment below and share your thoughts. Would you have shown kindness to the beggar if you were in Emily's place? Your words might inspire someone else to choose compassion today. And so, the tale of a waitress and a beggar turned billionaire reminds us all, sometimes the richest treasures in life are not found in banks or businesses, but in the simple, quiet acts of kindness that reveal the true wealth of the human soul. Life often reminds us that appearances can be deceiving. The man who seemed broken and forgotten was, in truth, someone who had seen both the highest towers of success and the lowest valleys of despair. Yet what mattered most in the end was not the wealth he once had, but the kindness shown to him. When he had nothing, Emily's simple act of compassion, a bowl of soup offered without judgment, became the turning point in a story that could have ended in silence. Instead, it became a legacy of hope, a reminder that love and kindness hold more power than money ever will. In a world where so many walk past without looking, where people are quick to judge and slow to care, stories like this shine a light on what really makes us human. We all carry burdens, we all have scars, but we also all have the ability to ease someone else's pain with a small gesture of compassion. Sometimes, the greatest miracles are hidden in the simplest acts. A smile, a meal, a kind word when someone needs it most. This story is not just about a billionaire disguised as a beggar. It is about how kindness can rewrite destinies. Emily gave food, but more importantly, she gave dignity. And in return, she discovered that one act of kindness can ripple into a future brighter than she ever imagined. So let this story be a reminder to us all. Never underestimate the power of kindness. What may feel small to you could mean the world to someone else. Carry this message with you. And whenever you see someone in need, remember that compassion costs nothing but can change everything.